Ahoy there, Chummers, and welcome to the Sixth World. And today we are recovering from the flu, recovering from pulling a double on a closing shift at work with very little sleep because we had to take our kid to the bus, which we missed this morning. So what we're going to do in order to cope with all that is we are going to make some spicy videos having to do with one having to do with TTRPGs in general, which is this one, and the other one having more specifically to do with Catalyst. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of hate for both videos, but you know what? Screw it, because every dislike is sweet, sweet, sweet engagement for that YouTube algorithm and does nothing but help grow the channel, paradoxically enough. So today's video that we're going to be doing is in response to a question that I asked a couple of weeks ago. I meant to do this video last week, but I was sick as a dog, as mentioned before, recovering from the flu, which my son graciously shared from school. So that was nice of him. I appreciated that. Great job there, buddy. So anyway, and that is a topic that I've been thinking about a lot, a topic that's been in the news a lot, especially in the last year, especially with regards to TTRPGs and some bigger companies like Wizards of the Coast and that sort of thing. And that is, what is the future for AI art in the TTRPG industry? Is there a future for AI art in the TTRPG industry, or any industry for that matter? Wizards, of course, famously has gotten caught twice now. That was something falling off my desk falling off of a shelf onto my desk, so we're just going to leave that in there because I don't feel like editing it out. I'm feeling lazy today. So Wizards of the Coast was caught twice now using AI art for their products. And not necessarily, when I say AI art, it's not like art that's 100% generated by AI. The first one was, I forget the name of the book, Bigby's Giant D&D something or other. I don't know. I don't pay attention to D&D books. I don't pay attention to D&D at all, really, except when Wizards screws up and does something profoundly stupid, which is at least once every fiscal quarter, the way things have been going. So we should be due for another screw-up from them pretty shortly. But there was one book where they used an artist who used AI to touch up their art and do a little bit of jiggery pokery stuff with it. And apparently this artist was known for that sort of thing, known for using AI to enhance their art for years. And Wizards, was like, oh, we had no idea. AI art in one of our projects. We're shocked, I tell you. Yeah, nobody else was shocked. And then they got caught using AI art with some Magic the Gathering cards. I did not look into that at all because I could not care less about Magic the Gathering. I played it when I was a kid, and it doesn't interest me anymore. So I did not dig into that, but of course, there's been a larger discussion of AI and AI art and how AI art is going to affect the industry and how it is going to change the industry, because it is going to change the industry. Despite what a lot of people would like, AI art is not going to go away. So there is going to be an effect on multiple industries, the TTRPG industry in particular, because art is a very large part of any publishing industry, really. And AI art is going to change the landscape. The question is how much and what kind of change are we going to see, and whether there's any possibility for that change to be beneficial. So I posted this on my community page a couple of weeks ago. I got some response to it. I will go ahead and link the community post in the description of the video so you can take a look at it. And then I'm just going to go ahead and read some of the responses that I got from it, because there were some pretty good responses on both sides of the argument, because a lot of people on the argument of AI art being involved in anything, a lot of people are black and white on this. It's either good or it's really bad. There's no in between. And of course, in real life, not everything is black and white. And I think AI art is the same. I think there is a place for AI art. And I think we are in the process of seeing the industry figure out what that place is. But the post that I made said, "Here's a question that I'm thinking about for a future video. It's a bit of a spicy one. What is AI art's place in the TTRPG industry? Let's hear some thoughts." So I did hear some thoughts. It was a spicy question. I didn't get a one hate comment, which a little disappointed about, but whatever. It's fine. It actually generated some pretty good discussion and served as a catalyst for this video. So I got a couple of comments. I'm going to read them. The first comment I got was, "I personally prefer handmade art, but for small time TTRPGs with little to no budget, I think it's fine." And that hits on a point that I think a lot of people are missing. Handmade art done by an artist, whether it's digital or whether it's drawn on with pen and paper and paint and that sort of thing, handmade art is just going to look better. It's going to hit better. It's going to have more soul to it, I think, than something that's done with AI. On the flip side, though, homemade art is very expensive. It takes a lot of time. You have to have the talent for it, and lacking the talent for it, you have to put in a hell of a lot of work in order to get to a point where you can sell that art to a TTRPG company or a publishing company or a corporate or whoever wants to buy it. Even if you're just doing commissions on Fiverr, you have to take the time and invest in that skill, and all of that is extremely expensive, and there are a lot of artists out there, very good artists, that charge a premium for their services. I'm not knocking them for doing that at all. You got the skills to pay the bills. You definitely need to charge what you think is a fair price and what the market feels is a fair price as well. If you are a really good artist and you are charging a premium for your work, that's fine. I have no issue with that at all. The thing the question that leads to, though, is if you are a small time TTRPG publisher, if you are somebody who's maybe a YouTuber, or maybe you're just some dude who wants to put something on DriveThru, or who wants to put like an adventure module on DriveThru RPG or something like that, just to put something cool out there, should you be forced to pay the premium for handmade art? And that, I think, is an interesting question, because that gets into another question: is that essentially gatekeeping the industry from people who don't have the money to invest in handmade art? Should these little small-time publishers, should they be forced to invest sometimes hundreds of dollars into putting art for a book that is really something of a fan project? Personally, I don't think they should. If they want to, that's fine. If they want to save up their money and commission an artist, or if they find an artist that can do things on a budget, like sketches and that sort of thing, make it look good and not break the bank, that's fine too. But also, I think if a small-time publisher wants to use AI, I don't know if we have the right to say, no, you can't do that. You can't play in the TTRPG space. You can't be in this industry and use AI art because AI art is bad. I don't know if I'm not comfortable saying that. If it's a small-time publisher, they want to use some AI art, for some like backgrounds or that sort of thing, whatever. If it's ethically sourced AI art, not completely stolen, but if it's ethically sourced AI art, I don't have a problem with that personally, and I think a lot of people would not have a problem with that. There are, of course, a lot of people that would have a problem with that. And again, you have to think about whether or not you are comfortable with essentially gatekeeping the industry and keeping small people out, and really creating a space that is only for large corporations and large publishers like Wizards of the Coast, like Paizo, and that sort of thing. Paizo was a small publisher at one point. Free League was a very small publisher at one point. All of these, hell, even Wizards was small time at one point. All of these companies started somewhere, And yes, they paid for their art because AI art didn't exist back then. But who are we to deny the opportunity for maybe the next Paizo or the next Wizards of the Coast by saying you have to spend hundreds of dollars on handmade art? You can't use AI. You can't use a cheap budget option to publish your book and to play in. You can't play in this space without spending gobs of money. I'm not comfortable saying that. So anyway, moving on to the next question, because if I stop and rant on every question like that, which I definitely could, is going to be an extremely long video. So next comment says, while non-AI art is better, again, I agree with that. I don't like AI art. I don't like art that looks like it's AI generated. I don't like that style that it tends to have, which is a very modern style, which is why I like the old school art. So I will always agree that non-AI art is going to be better, as I said previously. Back to the comment, though. It says, while non-AI art is better, I love using AI to generate stuff. I also have 4 artist friends who draw professionally, and AI helps them a lot. So that leads into another question about AI art and its impact on the TTRPG industry. Going back to Wizards and their whole scandal with AI art, should an artist be barred from using AI to enhance their own art? Is that an ethical use of AI within the publishing space? Again, I am personally, if I know an artist is using AI to touch up their art, I personally don't care. I really don't. As far as the whole Wizard scandal with the artist they hired that used AI to enhance their art, personally, I couldn't give a shit about the artist doing that. I really couldn't. I reported on that because it's funny as hell to see Wizards get got by the audience, the rabid, insane audience that they've courted with a lot of their projects over the years. The same audience that absolutely positively hates AI in all shapes and forms, and always needs you always have to use this handmade art unless that artist is problematic or whatever. So if you love using AI art to just generate stuff on your own, that's fine. Personally, hell, I have a video. I'll go ahead and link that in the description below, because I'm not going to be bothered to go back through this video later and add a card at the exact right spot. But I've got my own video where I used AI art to generate some Shadowrun stuff, and some of it came out pretty neat. Others came out not so neat, and some came out a little weird, like the corporate training video version of Lothvir that Dolly generated for me. So yeah, take a look at that video if you want to have a little bit of fun. But yeah, if an artist is drawing their own stuff and then using AI to kind of clean it up and enhance it, or maybe they don't, maybe it's an artist that they just like drawing characters, they don't want to bother with drawing a landscape or whatever, using that to generate to generate something like that, I have no problem with that personally. Do you have a problem with it, though? Let me know in the description, in the comment section. Let's get a discussion going. Speaking of comments, the next comment that we've got: if it's a painting of an evil AI overlord that is taking control of the city and thinks that humans are a sustainable fuel when they are dead and a bunch of runners are standing up to it, then yeah, I'm down with it. Otherwise, nuts to AI. And this is the other end of the spectrum where AI art is bad, and there's no ethical use of AI art in any case, in any way, shape, or form. I'm not saying that that's an incorrect opinion to have. It is an opinion. Whether it's correct or not is beside the point. If that's what you believe, that's what you believe. Is that the case, though, necessarily? Again, everything is not black and white necessarily. Something is not always good and not always bad. Something can be good in certain cases, something can be bad in certain cases. I think if you're using an AI that's been trained on other people's art that did not authorize that, and you're using it to, or if you're taking copyrighted art from another publisher, and you're using that to train your own AI and use your AI to stitch together some sort of Frankenstein monster for your own purposes to sell on your own, that's bad. That is not ethical. But if you're using AI to, if you've trained AI on your own art and you're using AI to generate your own stuff, that's another question. If you're using AI to touch up art that you personally have made, that's another question. Is that always bad? I don't think that's the case. Some people do. Not saying it's correct, not saying it's not correct. It is what it is. That's the good thing about having a discussion is we can see other people's opinions. We can see from the other person's point of view. We can look at our own opinions and we can adjust accordingly if we are wrong. That's what being an adult is about. And the internet has forgotten that. And a lot of people in real life have forgotten that, honestly, if we want to talk honestly about that. But anyway, that's getting into a subject for another time in another video that really has absolutely nothing to do with the scope of this channel. So let's move on to the next comment, which is an interesting comment. I read this comment and it got me thinking just a little bit. So let's go ahead and read this one here. It says, I'm fully in the AI art is theft. Doubly so because not only is it stealing work from artists, but it's also stealing jobs from them. And as a writer who's already had my job almost completely devalued by publishers and audiences over the last 100 years, seriously, writers are paid on average less than 1% of what they were paid in adjusted dollars in 1920. And had my work used to train AI, which was used to eliminate my job. I don't want that for my visual artists and brothers. As for my visual artist brothers and sisters. God, I mangled that. As someone pointed out, we were supposed to use automation and by extension AI to free us from grueling work so we could pursue artistic and creative lives. Instead, AI is taking our artistic and creative jobs while we're forced increasingly to work grueling and punishing jobs. Yeah, that's... If that's not the definition of a cyberpunk utopia, cyberpunk dystopia rather, I don't know what is. That is a great point, actually. But going back to the first part of this, it is very true, 100%. As someone who sells their art on eBay, I sell miniatures that I've painted, which is art, don't let anybody tell you different, on eBay for some extra hobby cash. And as somebody who knows a lot of writers and a lot of artists, yeah, absolutely, those professions in particular have been completely devalued. Nobody wants to pay, what those people are worth. I can spend like 7, 8, 9, 10 hours painting a miniature, and I can paint it up to a display standard, something that's way beyond what I usually do for the tabletop, and I can put that on eBay for like, $200, and someone would give me an offer like, $50. And I've literally had artist friends who are very good artists who try to charge a premium for their work, and they will have people come in and either lowball them to the point where it's not even worth doing what they're wanting, or they will demand that they do it for free, for like, because they've got an Instagram and they'll post it on their Instagram or whatever, and that's a cultural problem. I think that sort of devaluing of artistic talent and artistic work, that is a cultural problem in my opinion, and that's not something that's anything to do with AI or anything like that, or technology or whatever. That is just something that there's how do you fix that? How do you fix that perception? I don't know that you can, really. I think we're probably to the point where it's that sort of thing. You're just destined to, unless you're like a big name or something like that, or you create something that goes viral. I think we're just destined for, artists and writers to be perpetually underpaid. But the other part of that comment that this person brings up, that they've lost their job to AI, 100%. That person right there, that is somebody who is always going to come down on the side of AI is always bad and it's always horrible. Rightfully so, I think. I mean, that is, you are completely, if you have had your job eliminated by AI, it is 100% your prerogative to hold that position, justifiably so. And that is, I mean, let's face it, that is a consequence of technology improving throughout the decades. You know, as technology has improved, people have lost jobs. It's plain and simple. You know, you look at the factories, as factories move more towards automation, people lose jobs. As fast food moves more towards automation, people lose jobs. Any industry where automation is starting to take hold or has already taken hold, people have lost jobs. And writing and art is not going to be any exception. I think the key to that, though, is you have to adapt. But not being like a professional artist myself, and not being a professional writer myself, I don't know how you would adapt to that situation necessarily. And I mean, there's definitely ways that you can turn it. It's not my place though to say, oh well, you just learn to code or whatever bullshit like that. If you hate AI because AI has taken your job, absolutely 100%, you are entitled to hold that position, my dude, without any judgment or anything like that from me. And personally, I really don't think, number one, I don't think we can convince somebody who's lost their job to AI that AI is actually a good thing. That's like, talking to the factory worker who just got replaced with a robot. Well, it's actually a good thing that you lost your job and you can't feed your family and, you've got a mortgage that you can't pay now. It's actually a good thing because X, Y, Z. No, you're never going to convince a person like that the thing that took their job is good. And I don't think you should try, really. I don't think it's our place to try to convince somebody like that who has lost their job to automation that automation is a good thing. Like I said, totally justifiable position to hold right there. 100%, you have a reason for hating AI. Not gonna dog you for that. Absolutely correct. You can definitely do that. I don't think we should even try to convince you that you're in the wrong or anything like that. Now moving on to the next question or the next comment. Almost done here. We got a couple more comments to go. If trained on data from non-consenting artists, then hard no. If trained on ethically sourced data, then a weaker no. People will lose jobs thanks to automation. Again, bringing up that point that I just made, and in real life capitalistic dystopia, a job is needed to survive in most countries. So automation puts lives at risk unless compensated for. Yeah, I don't know about putting lives at risk. I don't know if I'd go that far, but yeah, you definitely have a point there. There does have to be some sort of compensation built into a society for increased automation, whether that's additional jobs in different fields or something like that. You definitely have a good point with that. But moving back to the comment, no ethical automation under capitalism and all. Okay. With UBI or similar stuff, it would be more mixed because people would have a safety cushion enough to survive, even if not thrive. I'm not going to touch that universal basic income stuff or anything like that. It's getting into a whole political mess that I'm not going to touch on in this channel because this channel is not focused on politics. But going back to the first part of the question of the comment, the first part of the comment, if AI is trained from non-consenting artists, then hard no. I think everybody can agree with that. If you are stealing somebody's art and using it to train an AI to make your own art, that is 100% not acceptable. And I think you need to suffer consequences for that. You need to suffer legal consequences for that because you are stealing. You are taking somebody else's copyrighted material and you are using that probably using that to make money yourself. That is definitely something that needs to have legal consequences. There need to be social consequences. Somebody who is stealing other people's art and selling it for their own, in all cases, needs to be ostracized and needs to suffer consequences. 100% agree with that. Everybody, I think, can agree with that. The other part, if it's trained on ethically sourced data, then it's a weaker no. So ethically sourced data is an interesting point because you have to decide what is ethically sourced data. when with regards to AI art? Is that an artist who is using their own art to train their own AI to do their own stuff? Is that ethically sourced data? I think yes, in that case. If there's an artist who is selling their art in order to have with the intention of people using it to train their own AIs, is that ethically sourced data? Good questions, questions that the industry needs to consider as a whole, questions that we need to consider personally as a whole. In those cases, I think there's a case to be made for AI. But yeah, 100% agree. If you are stealing other people's work and using it to train AI, you are a scumbag and you need to suffer all the consequences that you have. And then our last comment that we have here, again, I'm going to put this whole community post link in the description so you can look over these and maybe respond to some of them yourselves. I'm not calling anybody out here, even though I'm reading all the comments. You can go and see that for yourselves. Not saying any of these people are wrong or right or whatever, just saying it is what it is, and we're discussing things like adults here. The last comment says, personal use in gaming is okay, as far as I'm concerned, but industry should be prohibited, at least without explicitly informing the potential buyer that AI art is used in the process. I use AI-generated art in player handouts and PvP posts. For illustrative purposes in Shadowrun games, I GM and use AI to generate NPCs and my own PC portraits. So personal use for AI. If you're using DALL-E or Midjourney or one of those AI artists, AI art programs to generate your own stuff for your personal use in your own games, I think that's fine. I think most people would say that that's fine. If you just want to, if you can't draw, you don't want to take the time to, you don't want to take the large amount of time that it takes to learn how to draw effectively, and you just want to come up with some cool crap for your games to use at the table with your friends, that's fine. I got no issue with that. Do what you will at that point. At that point, it's just a fun little thing. Once you start selling that sort of thing, then we get into some grayer territory. Industry, as far as industry use being prohibited, I do think that yes, somebody needs to be told that what they're buying is AI generated or has had AI involved in it. I think it's just the concept of it being an informed consumer. You have to, and as a business, I think business has an ethical obligation to help their customers be informed consumers by saying, "Hey, this is what we've got. We've used AI in our art." Maybe not go so. Maybe they don't have to go so far as to reveal how they came up with the AI necessarily, because that might be getting into some trade secrets, and I don't think a business should be forced to handicap itself by giving away their process or whatever. But definitely need to inform the consumer that, hey, what you're getting, it's either 100% AI generated. In that case, I would say, if you have a warning like that, I don't want to say a warning because it sounds bad, but if you have an informative blurb, we'll go with that, like that on a project, that it's 100% AI generated, I think you probably should say where that's coming from. Like, hey, we used the art from this artist with permission to generate our art for our book using AI. I think something like that is probably an acceptable thing. Or saying like, hey, we used AI to enhance the art in this book. So the art was drawn by XYZ artist, and we used this AI program to enhance that art. That I think is fine. And I think that is that's something that was at the root of the issue with the Wizards of the Coast debacle. I don't think it was necessarily that they were using AI that pissed a lot of people off. I think it's the issue that they didn't tell anybody that they were using AI. And I think that is what people had an issue with more than the fact that AI was being used. So definitely think that that a company that's using AI in publishing, I definitely think that there does need to be some awareness made on the part of the company. If that probably doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm trying to say. A company needs to tell people where they're getting their stuff. If they're getting it from AI, they need to tell people, hey, yeah, we use AI art. If you want to buy our book, still great. If not, yeah, well, whatever, that's fine. More fish in the sea. So, anyway. I am going to go ahead and leave this video right here because it has already gone on a lot longer than I thought it was going to go. It is definitely one of the longest videos that I've done on this channel, but I think it's something that definitely needs to be talked about because so much of the AI art debate is AI art is always bad. AI art is always good. And as we've seen, you have people in the AI art is always bad camp that are absolutely 100% justified in feeling that. You have people that just don't like AI and for whatever reason they're following the crowd, going along with whatever is the whatever is the cause du jour at the moment, and then you have people on the other side like, oh yeah, no, AI art is always good in all shapes and forms and should be used by everybody. I think both extremes are. I don't want to say they're correct or incorrect. I think both are definitely extreme positions. You can justify each extreme position in your own way, but I think what's actually going to happen, because AI art, as I said before, is not going away at all. It's not going to happen. You are always going to have people that are going to use AI art. The cat is out of the bag. You can't put the lid back on Pandora's box. You just can't. It's always something that's going to be there now. The challenge that we have as consumers and that the industry has as a whole is figuring out what is acceptable for AI. What is acceptable use for AI? What are best practices for AI art? And how do we? I don't want to say necessarily protect the consumer, but how do we inform the consumer that AI art has been used? How's the best way to do that? And I think we are in the infancy of the AI art revolution. I'd say revolution because it's a revolutionary piece of technology. So it's definitely causing a revolution of sorts within the art industry. And I think we're just in its infancy right now. The technology, it's just come out. It's just become prominent within the last couple of years. So I think we've got a long way to go to figure out before we can figure out what's going on with AI and what are best standards and that sort of thing. I think probably within the next 5 years, we'll probably get a set of not necessarily formal industry-wide standards, not something like laws or any. I hope we don't get laws. Government stepping in to regulate stuff almost never works out the way that you hope it's going to do. And I don't want to see, government necessarily stepping in and regulating the TTRPG industry or, regulating AI art or whatever, except in cases where it absolutely needs to, in the cases of outright copyright theft and intellectual property theft and that sort of thing. I don't think we need onerous government regulations necessarily to keep the industry safe from the depredations of AI. I do think we are, though, going to see in the next 5 years, I think we're going to see a set of informal standards and a set of best practices that both companies and consumers will find acceptable. But it's going to take a lot of work to get there, and there's going to be a lot of pain. And yes, unfortunately, there are people that are out there that are very talented people that are going to lose their jobs and find themselves out of work. And it's up to us to figure out how we can best minimize that impact. So anyway, I'm going to leave this video right here and turn it over to you guys. What do you think about all this? What do you think would be an acceptable use of AI art within the TTRPG space? What do you think what do you think the best practices would look like? How do you think a consumer can be kept knowledgeable about what they're buying and all of that good stuff? Let me know in that comment section below. As always, if you liked what you heard, leave us a like and subscribe to the channel because both of those things help me out quite a bit and they grow us. Even if you dislike this video, smash that dislike button, leave a comment, because that, as I said at the beginning of the video, is sweet, sweet, sweet engagement, and that will also help the almighty algorithm push this channel to more people. We also have DriveThruRPG affiliate links in the description below, and Patreon and channel membership links as well, and I will see you all next time. And that's the chip truth, chummers. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more Shadowrun content. Hit that notification bell so you will always know when I upload a brand new Shadowrun video, and until next time, remember to shoot straight and never, ever deal with a dragon.